Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Andrew Weber. I'm the Director of Insights over here at Teikametrics, and really excited to have this webinar going on right now. So this is the Walmart Advertising Playbook for Success, and just really excited to be joined by Lex Josephs of Walmart Connect and our own Jason McGee of Teikametrics. So before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. First is you will receive a replay of this entire webinar after the presentation, roughly 24 hours, so stay tuned for that. And then additionally, you also get kind of a rundown of everything we talked about, so just stay tuned for that. So if you like kind of reviewing at your own pace, that'll be available to you, so just stay tuned for that coming sometime tomorrow. And with that, I will pass it over to Jason and Lex, who can kind of go through the content and get you guys started. One final note, I guess, before is just for any questions. You'll see a question box at the bottom of your screen or side of the screen, depending on what client you're using. At any time during the presentation, feel free to pop a question in there, and then we'll get to as many as we can at the end of the presentation. So thanks again so much, and Jason and Lex, take it away.
Thank you so much. Lex, I'm having some difficulties. You're up to be able to see me directly as well, but looks like it's the Lex show today.
I don't think it's the Lex show. I think it's the McGee and Lex show.
It's the McGee and Lex show. It is. Well, folks, thank you all so much for making time today. As Andrew mentioned, please keep the questions coming. We'll probably save a lot of them to the end unless there's something really speaking to Lex and myself when we're on the call. My name is Jason McGee. I'm Senior Director of Sales at Teikametrics, and I've been working on our partnership with Walmart since inception, going back into 2019. So Lex, took us 2 years to get you on one of these, but finally got you on. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm sorry I can't see you visually, but your voice comes booming through in the most elegant fashion. So it's making up for your non-appearance.
There we go. There we go. Well, Lex, I don't know if you need an introduction, but maybe just in case somebody doesn't know who you are, if you want to maybe introduce yourself really quickly.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for attending. I'm Lex Josephs. I'm VP of Ad Sales as well as Ad Tech Partnerships at Walmart Connect, which is the advertising organization within Walmart. I am really excited to be here to talk to you about how you can win search at Walmart through our Walmart advertising partner, Teikametrics, which Jason just corrected me with regards to how I've been saying it for 3 years. So note to yourselves, like take a hike, Teikametrics, or take a great partner along a journey.
There we go, taking your business to the next level. So I like take a hike though. As sales people, we've heard that a couple times in our lives, haven't we?
Yes.
Well, all right. Well, folks, looks like we have quite a big show today with a lot of attendees. I'll start off with what we're going to cover, just some high level things, and then I'll turn it over to Lex to really talk to us about the latest and greatest with Walmart. Keynotes and new changes for Walmart.com sellers, as well as best practices for both third-party sellers, dropship vendors, and 1P vendors on Walmart. Examples of how sellers of all different shapes and sizes have used advertising, and some of the things that Lex and I will cover today to really scale up your business. And then really dive into what are some very specific actions, optimization tactics for how you can drive efficiency and capture market share on Walmart.com. And then we'll definitely make sure we leave some good time for Q&A at the end. So a little bit about Teikametrics. Teikametrics uses, now you have me wanting to say Teika, even though I'm the one who corrected you. We use technology and hands-on keyboard analysts to drive their ad outcomes for sellers optimizing their businesses on Amazon and Walmart and beyond. Here's just a sampling of a number of the clients that trust us with their business to drive the right outcomes. And yeah, very excited to jump in here and really start sharing some good content. So without further ado, Lex, I'll turn it over to you.
This is just a reminder, everybody, that the materials I will be sharing are confidential and proprietary information and may not be disclosed or distributed without Walmart's consent. So thank you in advance. But no, in today's presentation, we are going to go through Walmart Connect's mission and vision, our shifting customer behaviors and expectations, why Walmart Connect, and how to get started as a marketplace seller, and then best practices and success stories. So our mission and vision. So just to give a little bit of perspective, as the closed loop omnichannel media business of America's largest retailer, we're actually really in a very exciting moment of growth at this moment. In Q1, Walmart Connect actually saw triple-digit growth for the quarter and an increase of more than 100% in new advertisers. So for everybody who's advertising, thank you so much for your partnership and for your business. We are gaining momentum, and our shift toward being results-oriented and solution-oriented for our advertisers, partners, and sellers is actually working. We know that we've had to evolve what we do for suppliers. We've had to evolve what we do for sellers and for Walmart's business, because we are integrated into people's lives and just making sure that we're creating brand safe, value-added, innovative ways for suppliers and sellers to connect with our customers effectively and efficiently. Ultimately, what we figured out is to position our retailer and our retail media company and organization for continued growth. We've recently actually unveiled an expanded strategic vision, and that is to connect brands and businesses more meaningfully in customers' everyday lives to accelerate shared growth. This new vision and new name, Walmart Connect, is our media business, and it demonstrates what our media business is in a way that extends far beyond media, and it's inclusive of meaningful experiences and integrations that bring sellers, suppliers, marketers, as well as agencies measurably closer to more customers through the power of Walmart. So said very nicely, we've done a lot in 3 years. We're really excited to be working with Teikametrics, and I'm excited to talk to you about just how consumer behavior is shifting. So on that note, consumer behavior and expectation are shifting, and I just want to share a couple of the trends that we're seeing and that we're focused on. First, customers are shopping and they want to do it whenever and however they want to. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. They're deciding how and when they want to shop. They're increasingly shopping in more omni ways across channels, whether it's in store, ordering and then picking up, or having an item delivered. And customer spending has been aided by stimulus spending and underlying improvements in the grocery business, as well as strength in reopening categories such as travel and celebration and personal care. I, for one, just recently traveled to Bentonville last week to be at headquarters at Walmart, and it was a thrill to not only be there with my merchants, but also to actually be in store with many of my colleagues for the first time in a long time. And so this being said, we're seeing not only travel as a growth category, but also sales of teeth whitener are popping up as customers take their masks off, and so are travel items. That's kind of big first thing, is that customers are shopping. They want to be able to get what they want, where they want, when they want it, and how they want it. The second thing is that we're actually seeing encouraging signs that all of our customers want to get out and shop. After more than a year of the pandemic, customers are actually starting to feel a bit more comfortable shopping in stores again, and we're actually seeing an acceleration of traffic as a result. We are particularly encouraged by the improving trends in store transactions, as well as turning solidly positive for the month of April, which was the first time in a year that we saw an acceleration of traffic in store. We also understand that customers are actually consolidating their trips, and so therefore they're actually seeing a 10% increase in average basket size with 3% fewer transactions. So strong sales trends were led by apparel, home, lawn, and garden for Q1. Lastly, I just want to say that there has been a complete increase in digital shopping. The pandemic definitely accelerated this shift and into e-commerce, which is led very much by store pickup and delivery, as well as strong marketplace sales. And strength was actually broad-based across categories like apparel, home, hardlines, and seasonal. So lots of things have been happening. Really excited that the world is reopening and that customers are getting out there to shop. And so when we think
Lex, I was just going to make one comment on that. That's awesome. We noticed a shift on even device type, where mobile obviously is a big trend, but when COVID happened, people weren't necessarily going into the store, so they were making more of a sit down on my computer and make my entire shopping trip there done as well. It's awesome to see that actually start to translate in store as well. And that's a good sign, knowing that even as folks come back online and go in store, they can still do that.
Correct. So that's been great. And we're actually noticing that now more than ever, customers are actually coming to the platform because they want to search for items that they need in their life. And so whether they've searched our site or our app, it's actually 56% more than in 2019. Very apropos to your point, Jason. They also, we noticed that customers actually want to receive and buy products in store, online, in app, or on social media. So every day our customer, they're purchasing groceries, they're purchasing diapers, electronics, toys, beauty products to make their lives better. They want to be able to do it wherever they do it. So we understand what customers are filling their baskets with, but we also know when customers are refilling their baskets across Walmart.com, pickup and delivery, offsite, and many other parts of our platform. So lots of activity are happening with our customers. What we also know is that executing on the fundamentals and progressing towards our omni strategy is really coming together nicely. Our unique assets are actually our value proposition for our customers, our financial strength. It actually puts us in a great competitive position to win, keeping the customer at the center of everything that we do. And as a result, we've actually seen overall sales growth 5%, e-commerce at 37%, and our same store sales increased by 6%. So if you put the customer at the forefront of everything that we do, and we always have the customer in mind, in addition to our associates and our communities, we expect to see mutual growth from many parties. So thank you for everybody who is making this possible. But the reason you're here today, guys, is because you want to know what it means to get started as a marketplace seller, and we are going to tell you. So we are going to share a little bit about like, who's the customer they're actually trying to reach when you're working with Walmart Connect and Teikametrics. Our customer is the American shopper. We actually have data on 90% of America because 90% of America shops at Walmart. They shop in our stores, on our website, and on our app. And we are actually uniquely positioned to connect your company with our 150 million weekly customers in a way that is additive to their shopping experience. I like to say, as the #1 retailer in America, the #1 online grocer, and the #2 e-commerce platform in the US, our scale is actually very massive. That equates to breadth and depth in how we help some of the most loved consumer brands reach customers, as well as some of our most sought after 3P sellers through their entire shopping journey. So Walmart Marketplace. This is the world's most trusted marketplace because it's selective by design. We've actually curated a community of respected professional sellers who only offer top quality, authentic products and best-in-class customer service. By holding very high standards for our applicants and sellers, we foster a level playing field that's trusted by our customers and partners alike as we protect them from counterfeit products and online shopping malpractices. So what does it mean to be qualified to be a Walmart Marketplace seller? Well, to ensure that you are set up for success, we have specific qualifications for our sellers. In order to qualify as a marketplace seller on Walmart, you must be experienced as an e-commerce seller with a US business tax ID, and you have to have a history of marketplace or e-commerce success. Your catalog must be compelling with competitive pricing and offer a wide assortment, and you must be able to offer an exceptional customer experience, including fast and reliable fulfillment, shipping and returns, as well as having a track record of first-class customer service. Well, now that you have achieved every single one of those amazing characteristics and attributes, here's how you actually get started. So we want you to, in the words of the slide, ready, set, sell. And so here are the 5 steps that you're going to need to complete in order to actually be a seller within Marketplace. We have to get starting is very easy, and here are the actual steps that you're going to take to get there. The first step is to request to sell. So this actually entails that you will tell us about your business and products in our online application. The second is the contract. Once your application is approved, you'll sign the retailer agreement. Third is registration. Complete your seller profile and connect your payment account in Seller Center. Fourth is onboarding, which means that you'll choose an integration method, connect and add products. And lastly, you'll go live. When you're ready, we'll do a final review and then we'll get you selling. So now that you've become a seller, you're up and running, how do you drive discovery and own search with sponsored products? Well, once you're a marketplace seller, you are ready to advertise in order to drive discovery of your products and own search. And it's important that you are live a minimum of 30 to 60 days before you start a sponsored product campaign. A sponsored product campaign, it will help you capitalize on e-commerce and commerce growth, own search, drive discovery, and win at Walmart as a well-managed Walmart advertising strategy that will be essential for your long-term marketplace success. Many people have said, Lex, that's great, but what is sponsored products? So I'm here to share with you. Sponsored products are ads that actually help customers discover relevant products as they search and browse on Walmart.com. Ads appear on our site in prominent high traffic spots such as search results, product detail pages known as PDPs, and the buy box. It allows you to get noticed, increase sales, and control costs. And as a marketplace seller, there is no fee or setup costs. You are only paying for when a customer clicks on your ads. So that is an overview of sponsored products. Now I'm going to share with you a little bit about what Search in Grid is. While there are a number of placements across our platform, I want to highlight a few of the most prominent search ads to give you an understanding of where the customer is going to not only be highly trafficked, but also where these ads will appear throughout the customer experience. The Search in Grid highlights your product on the first page of results when customers search relevant keywords. These ads send customers directly to your product page. Another feature is our product carousel. So our product carousel ads highlights your product on results pages and on item pages for similar or relevant products. This is a great way to target customers based on their category browse behavior or drive traffic to your product pages and close the loop. Another feature is our buy box. Our buy box is a premium placement that captures Walmart customers as they make their final buying decision by highlighting your product in a premium, high visibility placement on item pages for similar products. And lastly, we'll talk a little bit about placements on pickup and delivery. We have placements within our pickup and delivery experience. This is our homepage example highlighting our feature item carousel placement, which is a premium placement that drives wide visibility. It's also hyperlocal, and ads automatically populate with products based on their regional search frequency, store availability, and bid price. This placement is best to be used for a launch of new products, to promote seasonal products, to maintain market share, and to capture new customers. So that's a little bit about all of our ad formats specifically within the sponsored product segment. The area I'm now going to pivot to is reporting, specifically talking about campaign reporting. So we understand that measuring your campaign can be done through our campaign reporting, and through our reporting, you can measure impressions, clicks, ROAS, and ad spend. We also have something called on-demand reporting, and this provides you with many opportunities actually for optimization. They also provide insights and suggestions. So some of the areas that we're going to talk about are specifically around 4 different types of reports. The first is our item keyword performance report, which is also a search harvesting tool. This report indicates which keywords your advertised items are being served against and how well the advertised items are performing for those keywords. This information can help you to improve current and future sponsored product campaigns. For automatic campaigns, we use this report to identify keywords that show your ads in search in-grid placements and deliver high performance. You can add these keywords to various campaigns. You can use this additional information to optimize campaigns, and you can bid higher on more valuable keywords and/or remove underperforming items. The second type of report is our keyword performance report. This report indicates which keywords your advertised items are being served against, and the information can also help you optimize against your keyword bids. We also have a placement performance report for keyword bidding campaigns. This report allows you to view key metrics like CTR, conversion, ROAS, and more for your specific keyword campaigns by the placement the ad served in. This information can also help you improve current and future sponsored product campaigns using the bid multiplier to optimize placements based on reporting. Lastly, we have the item health report. Think of this almost as your inventory status. This report provides a more streamlined way of viewing various aspects of your advertised items. It includes signals such as item availability, buy box win rate, whether an item is published or is base or variant, etc., along with many recommended actions to improve the health of their items as well as optimizing your campaign. And if you notice your campaign is struggling to spend or is inconsistently spending, it's possible your items are not always in stock. So this is a good report to actually check your inventory status. You can also determine in this report if your items are losing the buy box to another vendor, which also could prevent your items from being eligible to serve. So I know that was a lot, and I talk very fast. So my apologies if that was an enormous amount of information to ingest, but I am going to put it together by explaining a little bit about a few best practices and success stories. And so what I really want to talk to you is that a well-managed Walmart advertising strategy is essential. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that as an industry standard, you need to know what is considered a successful campaign. And there are just simply too many variables to determine exactly what success is, but it really is defined by your goal. So you want to think about, are you trying to launch a new product and maximize visibility? Do you have a new product that you want to boost? Are your products seasonal and can you use a boost during certain times of the year? Do you have a lot of top competitors and want to keep your brand at the top? Do you want to boost sales for all products in your product line? And people, I can give you every permutation of every possible goal of every possible KPI that exists, but that's just a sample of, please make sure that you're setting measurable goals that support your business objective. Then we're going to talk about just selecting the best products for your actual campaign. And so before you launch a campaign, it's really important to do a gut check of your SKUs. You have to select the right products for your SKUs to focus your campaign around. It's hardly a set it and forget it proposition. It is truly a strategy of do the gut check, know your SKUs, select the right products. Not all SKUs are equal, so it's critical to first determine whether your goal is to drive performance and sales, brand awareness and higher impressions, or do you want to grow your SKUs? Again, having that KPI and business goal starts the process, then selecting the right products. We offer a unique set of marketing opportunities, so determining the goal will not only help you reach our customers, but also connect with them in a meaningful way that will elevate your business and brand reputation. The following was created to also help you identify what your sponsored product campaign objectives and then selecting the right SKUs to set it up for success. So here are some of the areas. Performance and sales. So with performance and sales, the key metrics you would be focusing your campaign around would be return on ad spend, known as ROAS, and sales revenue. It's incredibly important to take into account that not every SKU is offered both in-store and online at an omni-channel retailer like Walmart. So please do take that into consideration. Another example is brand awareness and higher impressions. This category is all about getting as many eyeballs as possible for your product and brand. This is especially important for large brands with a high volume of SKUs. You want your brand to be front and center through a customer's entire Walmart journey, so the metrics that your campaign is focused on are impressions, clicks, and ad spend. It's very important, and it's a great opportunity to capture new customers who aren't already brand loyal. And then another example I'm going to provide you as a goal is growth of SKUs. This one requires the most patience and staying power, but growing SKUs can be an essential investment for brands looking to build a rock solid foundation for success and even reap organic benefits. If your SKUs lack reviews and online ratings, this is where you want to play. With so much competition out there, it's all about getting customers to interact with your SKUs and being in it for the long haul. So key metrics include clicks, units sold, and conversion rate. The types of SKUs to focus on could be new SKUs to Walmart.com and SKUs with low performance. And when it comes to selecting the right SKUs to advertise, again, don't take the set it and forget it approach. As more competition continues to enter the marketplace, it's very important for you to ever and continually optimize and support a very long-term advertising strategy. And we, Walmart Connect, is here to help make the most of your campaigns. So finally, now that you've had all of this lovely tutorial of explaining what type of KPIs, what type of products, now you really want to understand of, okay, but I want to build quality content to win in search. So it's really important to build quality content to win search, and you want to focus on these 5 key elements to help improve the quality of your content and influence your organic ranking. So the first is your product name. The second are your images. The third is your product description. The fourth are your ratings and reviews. And the fifth are your price. All right, we got through the majority of the tutorial of what it's like to activate through Teikametrics and Walmart Connect as a marketplace seller or as a marketplace business. So now we want to finally talk to you about a case study regarding how we've actually seen a seller put this into place. And so Go Plus is actually a marketplace seller who worked with us in a self-serve capacity and partnered with Teikametrics to scale their business on Walmart. They were looking to accelerate growth and increase sales across their catalog, all while receiving a $5 ROAS. They launched a large-scale sponsored products campaign and they optimized through Teikametrics. GoPlus chose Teikametrics to provide the SKU by SKU optimization needed for maximum growth. A detailed campaign, GoPlus did not have the resources to manage this on their own, but they started with a relatively lean test budget, and Teikametrics hit the target ROAS within 2 weeks of launch. This early stage success inspired GoPlus to quadruple its investment to unlock even more opportunity. So needless to say, the campaign was a success. It generated an $8.12 ROAS, which was a pretty impressive result. And so on that note, I want to say thank you to Teikametrics for being a wonderful partner. Thank you all for taking the time to hear a little bit about Walmart Connect's vision, our mission, our strategy, and how we're making sure that our marketplace is a really well-founded, well-built infrastructure for all of our sellers, our vendors, and our businesses. And I'm going to turn it over to Jason for the rest of the presentation.
Lex, since I'm having some issues with my video, you can't see me blushing right now. But what I will, and you don't see the powder I put in my head either. But what I will say about this, like GoPlus as an example, is I love their philosophy, which I think is a great one that companies in a similar position should adopt, which is, hey, ROAS is obviously good, but if I can make sure I have at least this ROAS, how do I maximize my exposure and sell-through? And I just wanted to go through one quick, another example of another client of ours. So you get an example of a large third-party seller, a 1P account as well. Better Body Foods is another example of a client that we work with. They're amazing products, and they're delicious. They're very healthy. But outside of that, one thing that's awesome is they really wanted to land and expand on Walmart. So one of the things that they were noticing is that when they were doing this manually, there was a little bit of a plateau happening. And at the scale of products that they had, it was really tough to isolate products and strategies within those products to drive the right results. So one of the things that we did initially was we took their top 50 items. And what we did is we actually really broke them out at the SKU level to make sure that each one of them are treated as their own digital shelf. Once we did that, we were able to scale up very, very aggressively to the point where, yes, they increased their spend, but the reason why they wanted to increase their spend is their ROAS was 6x what it was previously. Most importantly, at a ROAS that was very good, they were actually able to 38x the amount of units that were actually sold. So this just shows you companies of all shapes and sizes, if you have the right dedicated strategy with a platform that allows for a growth like Walmart, it's just a great opportunity. So what I wanted to do is actually focus on some key points. Lex made a couple. I want to dive into a couple of those and actually add on to that as well. This was so important, I had to put it here again. Retail readiness. There is no true silver bullet to operating a strategy on e-commerce or omni-channel that but the closest you can have to that is having your listing be retail ready. So as an example, Lex walked through categorization, images, descriptions, all of those sorts of things. I actually wanted to see if I can grab a quick example here of, we all like visuals. So here's a company, NeuroGum. When we talk about categorization, you need to make sure that you're categorized up here in the top left. It's possible to have your listings live on Walmart, but they're not searchable. So you have to make sure that you are categorized correctly. You can do this in Retail Link. You can also do this directly through Seller Center. But the other thing too is look at the quality of their images. Just incredible images that you see here as well. If you scroll down, what I was very impressed with is look how they're using their space and really making sure that us as consumers know what we're getting ourselves into, down to rich media here as well. All of those are important. The reason why these are important for even beyond advertising is if Walmart is trying to index you and they want to make sure that they know which products search terms your products are associated with, they need to have data to pull from. So it's very important that you make sure that you do this not only for organic, but even for automatic campaigns, they need to have a deep Rolodex of search terms and phrases that are relevant to your product. So that's number one. If you take nothing out, I would be the first one to tell you, you should make sure you're retail ready before you even consider putting a bunch of money into advertising, because you really need to make sure that you have a very, very core foundation. Lex, I feel you'd probably say the same thing.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and then the next thing, you need to take a deep accounting of where your products rank organically on top search terms. Reason why I love this about Walmart, but they're going to show you one SKU. They're only going to show your SKU once per page. So you're not going to see a scenario where it's cluttered with ads and you see the same products organically as well. The way Walmart's built it is, if you're going to advertise, that ad placement is only going to better where you rank organically. So you have to be very strategic. As Walmart has opened up their searching grid placements as an example, it used to be only in the top 2 rows, slots 2, 3, 5, and 12, or 6 and 12. Now that they are throughout the entire page 1, you have to be strategic of, hey, you know what? I rank so well organically, maybe ads isn't the right strategy here. Maybe you have to adjust your strategy. You have to take into account of where you're ranking organically. As a general best practice, and you saw this with these 2 case studies, whether you have a massive catalog or you have just a handful of SKUs, you should be splitting out your products into their own campaigns. Because 1, this provides for clear performance visibility, so you know exactly what's happening on each individual SKU, on each search term, and when you want to take action because of that, you want to double down on what's working, pull back on something that's not quite where you want it to be. You now have that control if you're building a product first campaign structure. One thing to note is you can only advertise base item IDs. So it's important that if you do have variants, that your hero product is your best mover is your hero product as well. One thing I did want to call out here is there are a few scenarios where it can make sense to have variants versus splitting them out. The beauty about having variants is, let's say I have dog treats and I have a 10 count and I have a 50 count. Well, if you have them as a variant, whatever product gets a review, they all syndicate to that master listing. But at the same time, if your variants have a wildly different price point or a different margin, so let's say the dog treats, you have the 10 count at $10, the 50 count is $30, it might make sense to break those out, because if you advertise with your 10 count being your best seller, you could be leaving a lot of money on the table and not getting the 50 count as much love as it needs to be. Talk to us. Obviously, work with Walmart. There's a lot of different ways you could go about setting this up, but you need to take into account what your margins are, your goals, etc. Lastly, you have to get fulfillment correct. You have to get it set competitive. Not only does Walmart want to make sure that they have good caliber sellers that can fulfill on time, customers are super sensitive to how you deliver, especially how quickly you can do so. What I wanted to share is an example when we did a webinar with Walmart Marketplace team previously. They actually shared this, which is how quickly you can ship an item and get it delivered. How can that impact your conversion rate? Well, the beauty here is if you're using Walmart Fulfillment Service, or you have 2-day shipping, or if you're 1P or Walmart pick, packing, and shipping your items, having that 2-day shipping time can increase your conversion rates on average of 41.2%. So if you think that you're putting your best foot forward and you don't have delivery expedited and really dialed in, you're missing massive amounts of sales and exposure. So that said, I want to then talk about specific ways you should be thinking about creating efficiencies, optimizing how you build out advertising to capture, increase, and grow your market share on Walmart.com. We talk about this a lot. Anybody who follows Teikametrics and you listen to a lot of the content we put out, we talk about all of these pivot points that influence the value of advertising. One thing that we recommend doing, and again, we can do this, forget about the shameless plug. You guys can also do this on your own too, but you have to take stock of how do consumers make buying decisions. Well, as an example, they're either going to look up a brand that they want to buy or specs of a product that relate to that particular product. So you need to take stock of, well, what are the brand search terms that people use to find a particular SKU? Who are the competitors that I'm up against? 78% of search terms on marketplaces are generic. They're not they're brand agnostic. They're not specifying a brand. As an example, it may say, I want a 12-ounce tumbler as an example of a product. That's not brand specific. So you need to go there and make sure you're casting wide nets and treating each customer as if they're physically walking into your store, who know exactly what brand they want. They just know the type of product they want. You need to meet the buyers where they are. Second thing is product objective. Lex talked about this a lot. There's a slide later on about this as well. But you need to take stock of, where is this product in its life cycle? Is this a brand new launch on this channel? Is it been around, but I really need to grow and scale it up? Or is this a cash cow that needs to be treated differently? All of those things are going to impact how you advertise. And then lastly, market intelligence. You need to understand, what is your share of voice on particular search terms? Which competitors am I up against? How do I do organically versus paid? Where do I stack up against the competition? These all give you different levers to pull to know exactly what you need to do to build and deploy the right advertising strategy. So just to recap a few bullet points, shopper segmentation is key. Let's pretend I'm running a physical storefront. If I have a customer coming in looking for my brand, I know where to direct them. I know they're already looking to convert, versus somebody said, hey, I actually looked at a competitor's product. How do you stack up? They need to be treated differently versus somebody who's like, hey, I just need a product that fits my needs. As an example, branded keywords and search terms, they should actually have your lowest bid because they are most likely to convert. And you want to make sure you're not over investing in branded terms, because that is not going to incrementally grow your business. Those are customers who already have a high likelihood to convert. So while these sales are not as incremental, you need to make sure you can capture those sales, cross-promote products, making sure that if somebody's looking for you, you're finding them. This is a huge one for us too, which is understanding bidding to value and having the budget to support it. So when we talk about bidding to value, it's not purely based on return on ad spend. ROAS is very important, but you also want to look at, what is my average order value? What are my conversion rates? The ideal way, this is the examples that the case studies we use. Ideally, you have an untapped budget, but you're not spending money to spend money. You're tying those budgets back to specific KPIs. Going back to the ROAS example, as long as I have a ROAS of X, how do I make sure that I am maximizing my exposure and sell-through and conversions while being mindful of what the return is? So if profitable sales are likely, you want to win that click. You don't want to go dark, and you don't want to be hamstrung on budget, especially when Walmart, thing I love about Walmart is Walmart's constantly rolling out of events. You obviously have, Earth Day events. You have September for Baby. You have back to school. There's so many opportunities to make sure that you can take advantage of the heightened search volume that's coming through. Going dark can be killer. Search is an always-on strategy. And then, as I just mentioned, going deeper, conversion rates are arguably the canary in the coal mine before you even look at return on ad spend. We all know it takes days on any platform for ROAS and ad sales to be attributed. Focus on conversion rates. If you start to convert higher, you actually could increase your bids knowing that you'll still stay within your desired ROAS because you're converting much higher. So you need to make sure you're following conversion rates and taking into account how, if you're going to convert higher, you can still meet and exceed your ROAS targets, but you can capture more sales at the same time. Now, being a visual person and wanting to throw some color into these slides, I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about goal-based campaigns, because Lex, what you just said, it's worth going into greater detail here. So depending on where your product is in its life cycle, everything becomes contextual. If I had a nickel for everybody, every time somebody says, what's a good ROAS? I get to play 21 questions with them. Well, where's your product in its life cycle? What are your goals of this product? What is your budget? What is your ROAS expectations? What do you expect to see? And if you look at the graph on the right, when you're launching a product, you may be spending more money and have a lower ROAS or a higher ACoS, and that's a trade-off to establish product market fit. Versus actually, after you start to get product market fit, you can be less reliant on advertising to generate those returns. something that I just want everybody to understand is just because an item is at a certain stage on another channel, like your own direct-to-consumer website or another marketplace, does not mean that it's in the exact same channel when you go and bring it on Walmart. So you need to take stock of that and realize that just because something runs a certain way in another channel, it's a different segment. The thing I love about Walmart too is some of the fastest growing segments are millennials and homeowners. This is a new opportunity to expand your reach because Walmart has such a huge reach and such brand equity in the market. It's a great opportunity to extend product life cycles as well. So, Lex, now you have me self-conscious if I'm speaking too fast. But
I'm listening. I'm actively engaged and listening, which much of our audience, that is a testament to your voice.
There we go. I am loud. I'm making up for my 5'8" stature. But one of the things that I want to really dive into and show you guys some examples of is how do you take stock of how much share of voice and market coverage that you have. This is something that Teikametrics is able to provide with our market intelligence tool, is able to show you. Look on page 1, what percentage of products on page 1 are owned by a potential or respective manufacturer or brand. Being able to see this not in totality, but also even breaking this out by organic only or paid only, this allows you to take stock of where you actually stand on Walmart as a channel, and also who are your competitors that you may not know about. You may think your competitors are ABC, but they may be XYZ because they're the ones actually investing aggressively and coming after you. Another very important thing is how often do you appear on page 1? Where do you rank organically? Where do you rank paid? And most importantly, what do you do about it? It's great to have data, but unrefined data is like unrefined oil. It's absolutely useless until you refine it and turn it into a strategy. That's what you all should be doing as a best practice, is taking stock of this before you start advertising. So once you've gone through all those steps and you've built out what your plan is, what does a good campaign structure look like? This is a general best practice. It is certainly not used every single time, but the thing that I love about Walmart is they have the explore, exploit methodology built. Auto campaigns for discoverability, searchability, to find where your products are relevant. And then you move them to manual campaigns where you really get to drive home your return on ad spend, your conversion rates. We recommend, as I mentioned, ad nauseum, breaking it out by branded terms, competitor search terms, and generic search terms, each with their own weight. And if you have things that are doing well on your own website, great. Let's try and adopt and learn from those other channels and apply that to Walmart as well. That's an absolute best practice that you'll see us put a lot of content out about. One other thing that's worth mentioning is Walmart, if folks aren't familiar, Walmart is a first price auction. That's the way they run their ad auction. Most people are familiar with the second price auction, which means if I want to show up for metal tumbler and I bid $2 and the second highest bid is $1, you may win the bid at $2 if the products are relevant in stock, et cetera, but you pay 1 penny over the second highest price. Walmart has a first price auction, which means if you bid $2, you're going to pay $2. Well, how you maximize the opportunity and get to that true value-based bid is, and this is Teikametrics' approach. We will do a mixture of what's called upward bid exploration. We will start off conservatively and use machine learning and technology to increase your bid until we find the pivot point where you're winning the advertising auction. But we don't just stop there. Just because you're winning at $2, maybe you could be winning at $1.63 and opening up more profitability. That's how we can start to shave your bid down to make sure you're truly winning. I mean, this is game theory on steroids with machine learning. That's the power of having technology to do that. And we're wrapping up with just a couple more slides, but I have to give a huge shout out to what pickup and delivery has done for our clients and just Walmart in general. This is an example of our client who started off pretty conservatively. And this is before they turned on pickup and delivery. But what they did is they coincided launching advertising with pickup and delivery. And you can see how this is actually scaled, not only their ROAS, but their sell-through, their ownership of all their top SKUs. On that pickup delivery, if folks have the opportunity who are also in store, you're missing a trick if you are not focusing on that, because it is just huge and it makes Walmart in a league of its own in terms of what options are available to you to leverage from an advertising perspective. So in closing, what are strategies and tactics that you really need to take into account to win? First price auction means that you need to make sure that you are testing out higher bids. But just because you're sitting at the top of the win with a top bid doesn't mean you can't be winning at a lower price point. Maximize efficiency and profitability at the exact same time. As Lex said, explore and exploit strategy with automatic and manual campaigns. However, know that automatic and manual campaigns have different advertising inventory. Manual campaigns, you have search and grid and carousel. On automatic, you have search and grid, carousel, category pages, buy box pages. So it's always good to have automatic campaigns running because you have an increased opportunity to get exposure and more placements to win. Platform specific targeting, if there's something that makes me so giddy about what you're able to do on Walmart, sellers can see performance by platform type and page type, and you can actually leverage bid multipliers. As a case in point, we have a client that sells fitness products that are actually pretty heavy. You would think that desktop was their best performing channel. We realized that mobile was lighting it up and 3xing what was happening on desktop. We actually were able to create a strategy focusing specifically on mobile that really allowed them to maximize their return there. And then lastly, pickup and delivery. Absolutely, if you had the opportunity, definitely would focus on unlocking that. Note, this isn't just for grocery items. Makeup, arts and crafts, all those are eligible for pickup and delivery if you're enrolled in the program. So I know we had a lot of questions coming in. I wanted to make sure that we left some ample time. But Lex, thank you so much for this. This has been great. I see attendance has not only held steady but grown, which means, well, hopefully we're delivering good content here.
Good to know, between my face and mouth and your mouth. So that's great.
Loud voice. Andrew Weber, are you still with us?
Yeah. So yeah, we can get right to the questions. Yeah, we had a ton come in. So yeah, everyone online, we'll get to as many as we can in the time allotted. So I guess, first one is for Lex and Jason. Maybe you also have some perspective too. This person asked, since auto campaigns seem to be kind of the first choice on Walmart, kind of as an initial option, is it better to set up, one SKU per ad group or kind of group in these auto campaigns, 5 to 10, let's say, similar SKUs inside that one ad group? And, maybe you have some perspective there.
Yeah, great question. So thank you. And thank you for everyone who's interested in that is sending in questions. I find engagement, especially virtual, extremely unique. So thank you. To answer the question, not necessarily. Auto campaigns actually combine the full portfolio and they let the algos serve the SKUs. We see the best performance for this because they serve based on where they live on the site. So you can combine all SKUs with different categories. Manual or keyword bidding should be more strategic. So you want to group SKUs with similar attributes so all those keywords would work for those products. So a little bit lengthier in terms of the actual explanation, but the answer is not necessarily.
And I'll add a little bit to that as well. The first question is what sort of team or technology do you have to be able to support creating individual SKU-based campaigns? Ideally, you want to have a blend of auto and manual, but ideally you want to even split it out at the product level. However, that can be cumbersome if you don't have a really good team or system in place to manage that. But the beauty about having products broken out, campaigns broken out at the product level is, again, it gives you maximum control and exposure. However, if you have products that are so similar or they're variant by color or size or maybe small attributes, you may be able to put them all together in a master campaign, in one auto campaign to really see how far it can get you, but you need to be able to tinker. I mean, there is not one size fits all with advertising. They're best practices, but Mike Tyson's quote is everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. The same thing when it comes to products. But in this case, you can have a plan, but you got to be able to understand how is the market reacting? Like where is the love coming from on the search side? You have to make sure that you're able to roll with the punches, so to speak.
Was that a pun that was intended with Mike Tyson or no?
It can be. I've been on a big boxing kick as of late.
I was like rolling with the punches, Mike Tyson, maybe there was some sort of synergy.
That actually tied in a lot better than I didn't even think that up, but Lex, thanks for catching that.
Good to know. Told you that whimsical would be magical.
Great.
And yeah,
And
go for it, Weber.
yeah, and just so we can get some more questions. I'd also note with grouping campaigns, also make sure that the margins are similar. What you don't want to do is obviously be bidding one way, and if the margins are different, that obviously complicates how you optimize. But moving on to this is probably a good question for Jason. You talked about uncapped budgets earlier. What are kind of good ways that maybe you've seen about kind of setting those guardrails? You talked about profitability, and if you could maybe expand on that a little bit.
I can go on forever about this. I'll try and keep it very short. Couple things you want to do is understand what sales are you trying to derive from for a particular product. A good metric is, hey, based on my current sales or skating to where the puck is, what my expected sales are. A metric we look at a lot is tacos. What of your total revenue? What is a good, healthy spend percentage based on where that revenue should go? We typically see anywhere between 8 to 15% of total sales spent on advertising. However, the newer the product, the higher your tacos might be because you need to invest in future growth. Versus a product that's a cash cow, you may want to, it's in a profit phase, you may not have to rely as much on advertising. Once you have that set up, the second thing is, based on the product where it is in its life cycle, what is my expected ROAS? What is my minimum allowable return on ad spend? That's how I would look at uncapping a budget and making sure that you're not going too deep into the budget if your ROAS and your other KPIs aren't being hit.
Awesome. There's another one probably for Lex, but I think it's a great one. So I wanted to get to this one. It's just because obviously everyone is there looking to scale up. Keywords are a big part of it. So this person asks, is there any keyword harvest tool you can recommend for Walmart data? They have several options for Amazon, but in relation to Walmart, I know you went over this a little bit earlier. I'd love for you to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Great question again. Thank you. You can actually use the keyword. It's called the Item Keyword Performance Report. The report actually indicates which keywords your advertised items are being served against and how well the advertised items are performing for those keywords. So this information can actually help you improve current and future sponsored product campaigns. To go a little bit deeper, for automatic campaigns, use this report to identify keywords that show your ads in search in grid placements and delivered high performance. You can then add these keywords to manual campaigns. For manual campaigns, use the additional information to optimize campaign performance, so bid higher on more valuable keywords and or remove underperforming items.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Great rule of thumb for sure. And so moving, I mean, this is actually a similar question, and this is probably for you, Jason. This person asked, okay, how does Teikametrics help sellers kind of specific to Walmart, vis-a-vis Amazon? Are there kind of specific optimizations, right, for Walmart's algorithm and ad software? And maybe if you want to go into those just a little bit. I know you talked about it earlier, but going over that a little bit again.
Yeah, I think there are a few things. One, you do not want to copy and paste data from other channels and assume the keywords are going to work, but a lot of the search terms are going to be similar. So if you can look at data from, Google Analytics or another channel, you can use those that actually build out a more robust manual campaign at the beginning to not be overly reliant or fully reliant on automatic campaigns. That's number one. Two, I want to reiterate this. The fact that you can see placement performance and leverage bid multipliers on that and desktop, that's a tool and a lever that does not exist on other channels. Maximize that without a doubt, because there are certain products that you would think do well on one device versus another. The data can tell you the same story and reinforce what you think, or it can tell you something completely different and you say, you know what, I got to listen to the data and make a decision that's backed by data. There are a lot of different levers you can pull to really maximize that.
Great, and I think we'll have time for maybe one or two more questions. And again, thank you everyone for sending in. It was really terrific to see all of these. So this one for Lex and Jason. Obviously, also you can feel free to jump in here. But on Walmart, you have broad phrase and exact targeting, but not audience targeting. What's kind of a good balance of ads? And I imagine there's kind of a nuanced answer here, but Lex, if you could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, again, thank you. There's actually no right balance because it really depends on your goals. Very apropos of what we were presenting before. You really have to start with what your KPI or your objective is. Broad match keywords should be used to expand your keyword coverage and increase the reach and exposure of your campaigns, but they're intended to deliver to a larger subset of Walmart customers. If you use the keyword performance report to see how your keywords and match types are performing, and then you can move any broad match to exact match to see if you get a higher return. But each match type narrows your target audience, and exact match is the most specific, followed by phrase and broad. So be mindful when selecting and make sure that you have a very clear business objective mapped to the specific strategy that you're employing.
Lex, that brings a tear to my eye. That was so well said. And just to go a little bit deeper, you don't want to immediately jump right to exact. Like, you need to follow the data. So a good strategy is using autos. Once they work, you move it to, and those are typically broad match, or if you have an manual campaign, broad match. Then you add it as a phrase as well. Then you also add it as exact. And the beauty about having a broad phrase and exact match coverage is somebody goes in with an exact match, your exact match bid is going to be more relevant because that's a specific target. So it gives you the balance of having exposure for search terms behavior that may not be what you expect, misspellings, et cetera, but then you actually have the exact match coverage as well. Use the data to make that decision.
Great, and I think we can do probably one more question, but I think it's a good one to kind of end on. You talked a lot about auto versus manual, and and maybe Lex and Jason, you can hop in here, but can you discuss kind of the ad placement opportunities where you've got some for auto, some for manual? I know there are differences, but can you kind of go over those a little bit more in detail?
Jason,
Lex, do you want this one?
I said a little bit about this before regarding the harvest tool, so by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, so so the way I look at this is it's obviously different per category, but one good saying is autos for show, manuals for dough. Manual, you have a little bit restricted placements where it's search and grid, which is the highest converting one, and premium placement, as well as carousel. So on autos, you get search and grid, carousel, category pages, and buy box pages as well. This is very good for maximizing exposure and impressions. At times, it could hamper ROAS a little bit because it's a little bit more broad, but know that you're trading a little bit of ROAS for high exposure. On the manual side, you may get less exposure, but you can be surgical with how you go about it. So manuals oftentimes, not always, can have a better ROAS, a better conversion rate, et cetera, but it's still less exposure. So you just need to have a blend of both.
Terrific. Well, I think we're out of time, but this was a really, really great session. I definitely enjoyed listening in. I hope everyone on the line did as well. Again, just to reiterate, you'll get a replay of this session coming into your inbox roughly 24 hours from now, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you, Lex. Thank you, Jason, for being on here. This was, again, really terrific, and looking forward to seeing everyone on the line again soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.